Mankind history for 7 million years will soon end. It will not happen because of nuclear war, asteroid impact, or invasion of alien races, but they will be destroyed in the hands of their creators. They are gods. The scene shifts to the council hall where the Council of Valhalla are gathering to discuss the future of mankind for the next 1,000 years. A grandpa who turned out to be the god Zeus said that after 1,000 years had passed, the gods again held a meeting to decide human destiny, which was attended by all the gods in the world. Then Zeus threw a question to the gods: will the gods allow mankind to exist for the next 1,000 years, or will they end their existence? God Shiva answered loudly and clearly denied mankind existence for the next 1,000 years. God Shiva noticed that mankind have not changed during the last 1,000 years. The opinion of God Shiva was affirmed by Aphrodite as the goddess of love. Aphrodite added that humans are a catastrophe itself. Humans pollute the sea, air and environment with garbage and all kinds of things. Mankind will also destroy the earth itself. After hearing Aphrodite's opinion, the other gods agreed to destroy mankind. Just when Zeus was about to knock his judge's hammer, suddenly a woman appeared. It turned out that the woman was a Valkyrie named Brunhilde, and she rejected the gods' decision. Then she suggested to the gods to hold a final battle between mankind and the gods. The battle is called Ragnarok. Ragnarok is a one-on-one battle between God and man. Where 13 gods against 13 men, one side who can win 7 times can determine the fate of the other side. Ragnarok has never happened since mankind was created. That's because the gods considered it impossible for mankind to defeat the gods. The request to hold Ragnarok was rejected by several gods, one of whom was the god Odin. He said that Ragnarok was nonsense, because mankind were no match for the gods. Even though they had all refused, Brunhilde managed to provoke the emotions of the gods by saying that they were actually only afraid to face humans in battle. The gods also managed to be provoked by Brunhilde's words, so the Valhalla Council decided to hold Ragnarok. After that, Brunhilde was ordered by Zeus to immediately find a representative of the human race. Brunhilde replied that she would find the 13 strongest man who ever existed from the history of mankind. Then the scene changes and shows a battle arena similar to the Colosseum called the Valhalla Arena. There were a lot of spectators from both sides who witnessed it. Then Heimdall, as the guardian god of the apocalypse who was the host of the event from Ragnarok, announced that if one side died, then he would be the winner. After that, he introduces the fighter who will first fight. From the god side is the strongest Nordic god and the god of thunder. Gaul looked pessimistic that the human side could win against the gods, but Brunhilde felt confident that the human side would win. Because she brought someone strong, he was the greatest and craziest warrior in the history of China. Then, Heimdall greeted him with great fanfare and introduced the warrior named Lu Bu. His comrades and troops had come to support Lu Bu. Gaul was again worried about whether Lu Bu could defeat Thor, but Brunhilde was still optimistic that the man could defeat the god, and this was the perfect time to smack their cocky faces. After waiting for thousands of years, Heimdall finally blew the trumpet signaling that Ragnarok had officially begun. However, both Thor and Lu Bu, they both approached each other with open defenses. When Thor mounts a stance to launch an attack, the scene shows a flashback. In ancient times, in the land of the gods in Asgard, a place surrounded by towering walls served to protect Asgard from the invasion of the giant land, Jotunheim. A guard soldier was seen complaining that their job was so boring, and some of them didn't have any combat experience either. Then suddenly they felt a very strong vibration, which turned out to be a group of giants attacking Asgard. The giants numbered 66. It was the first time Jotunheim's giant army had attacked in such large numbers. Since they previously always attacked individually, that's what the Asgard guards thought, which made their defensive instincts weaken. Many of Asgard's protectors and residents fell victim to the attack. A giant that was much larger than the other giants managed to destroy the wall and made the residents even more panicked. The protectors kept trying to fight the giants, but they were all no match for him. The giants deliberately waited for the moment when the gods' defenses were weak, and at that moment Asgard was truly on the verge of destruction. Until finally the giants tried to attack the palace of Asgard. Thor's subordinates were seen crying in fear because he felt this was the end of his life. Then, Thor the god of thunder was seen casually walking out of the palace to face the giants. It turned out that Thor could easily defeat them all. He got bored of fighting the giants because there was no resistance at all. In the end, he slaughtered the 66 giants with a single strike using a technique, the same technique as the stances he would launch on Lubu. It was the moment when Gaul was worried that Lubu would perish because of Thor's attack. But Brunhilde still and continues to believe that there will be a moment when the history of the gods and of mankind will change. Apparently, the audience and also including the gods were surprised because Thor's attack could be resisted by Lubu. Even Lubu could inflict injury on the thunder god. After that scene, we are shown a flashback of Lubu who seems to have just killed a beast. In a prairie in Mongolia, it is said that Lubu was from the Zhouyuan region, which is now known as the Mongolian Autonomous Region. Lubu always wandered in search of the strongest. On his journeys, he bravely crossed the vast Eurasian continent. He always finishes whatever comes his way and keeps looking for a stronger one to beat. But after 30 years of traveling, Lubu finally realized that there was no man in this world equal to him. After that, Lubu was seen bound and led to the execution stage. He begged Lord Cao Cao to be given a cavalry to conquer the world. But what actually happened was, he was too bored after realizing that he was the strongest man and decided to end his life. When facing Thor's Mjolnir, all weapons belonging to humans should be destroyed, and Zeus also has suspicions of Brunhilde. The scene moves back to the time before the start of Ragnarok. It looks like Gaul and Brunhilde are talking to decide the first turn that will advance to Ragnarok later. Brunhilde chose Lubu, but Gaul had doubts about it. In fact, they both knew that humans couldn't possibly win against the gods. For that, Brunhilde devised a tactic to defeat the gods by summoning 11 other Valkyries who were none other than Brunhilde's younger sister. Brunhilde, Gaul and the other 11 Valkyries are the 13 Valkyrie sisters. Brunhilde plans to have his sister transform into a weapon, because that's the only way human can match the weapons made by the gods, especially Mjolnir and Thor's iron gauntlets. Back to the fight between Thor and Lubu, which looks like he can withstand Thor's hammer attack. The other gods began to realize the secret behind Lubu's weapon that could withstand Thor's attacks was a Valkyrie who transformed into a sacred item for mankind called the Shield Breaker. While Mjolnir was an extraordinarily powerful weapon possessed by the gods, its overwhelming heat was like lava. According to Norse mythology, Thor uses Jarngrape to protect his hands. The Shield Breaker attack was able to destroy Thor's incredible Jarngrape resistance. Lubu's supporters were excited to see him destroy Jarngrape. They all began to see that there was hope that human could surpass the gods. Hermes explained about the Valkyries who gave themselves to humanity, especially the strongest warriors, to become warriors of the gods. Even though it was considered only a rumor since ancient times, they were able to transform into a weapon capable of rivaling the gods, and that power was called Valendr. After that, suddenly Mjolnir melted because of the tremendous heat like lava. Heimdall and the audience were worried that Thor would no longer be able to lift Mjolnir. But then a sound like a heartbeat suddenly sounded by everyone. It turned out to be the voice of Mjolnir, who had now awakened. Zeus explains about the misunderstanding about the legend of Mjolnir and Jarngrape. Thor uses Jarngrape not to protect him from Mjolnir's power, but to restrain his power so that Mjolnir is not destroyed before his awakened. Then Thor raised Mjolnir and prepared to make a serious attack on Lubu. But before that, Brunhilde and Hermes received a message containing Ragnarok participants from both the man and god side. Thor with the awakening of Mjolnir prepares to attack Lubu, which according to legend, Thor's throw has never missed a single one of his 100 attempts. However, Lubu was able to dodge the throw and rushed to attack Thor. At the same time Mjolnir returned to Thor's hands and he prepared to attack Lubu. Apparently, Thor's throw wasn't meant to hit the enemy but rather so he could use the resulting speed and centrifugal force. Terrible clashes were inevitable. But miraculously Lubu was able to withstand Thor's overwhelming attack. The audience was so hysterical at Lubu's ability that they realized something. Thor's attack came at a heavy price with both of Lubu's visibly broken legs, and he seemed unable to stand up anymore. Just when the gods thought it was the end of Lubu, the red hair, Lubu's favorite horse, entered the arena to the roar of the crowd cheering Lubu. It made Lubu get back up and excited to prepare to fight Thor by riding the red hare. At that moment, Lubu recalled his past when he saw a tree burnt due to being struck by lightning. It made him think that there was someone above the sky. Lubu then moves around Thor and wields his weapon in a special way that makes his man reminisce about the past. He watched as Lubu continued to hone his swinging skills using the weapon to create the ultimate move. Without counting the days he continued to hone his skills to perfect, and after tens of thousands of times he swung his weapon, he was finally able to split the sky with his ultimate move, which was named Sky Eater. The next attack was Lubu's greatest move in his entire life, while Thor also felt the same pleasure in fighting. The clash between the two ultimate moves resulted in a tremendous impact, turning the Valkyrie back into its original form and shattering both of Lubu's hands. Even so, Lubu felt a fighting pleasure that he hadn't felt in a long time. Which in the end Thor destroys Lubu with his final attack. The first battle of Ragnarok that brought together man and god was won by Thor. Now, humanity is one step closer to the verge of annihilation. That's the recap of the Record of Ragnarok Anime Season 1, Episodes 1 to 4. For the next part, please check the description column. If you like this video, don't forget to step on the like and subscribe button. Stay healthy and see you soon.